My name is Alan Miller. I'll be backing up my partner's claims that union workers should be required to join a union to be considered employed. Being in a union and having these labor movements is what helped us get to the condition that we have today. One prime example being Cesar Chavez, who was a Latino American activist movement for farm workers back in the 1960s. He created the boycott, which is people refusing to buy products from companies because they criticize them for not treating their farm workers well. He publicized the dangers of the farm chemicals that they were being subjected to work in, and he improved the condition of farm workers by making their mistreatment a national issue and making sure everyone around the country was aware of that. He employed non-violent ways like the boycott to bring attention to the plight of the farm workers. He led marches, and personally he went on many hunger strikes to prove his point and to show that change needed to happen. He brought national awareness and the dangers of these pesticides to the workers' health. In 1962, he created a union called the National Farmers Workers Associations to fight for the cause and for these farm workers that were being mistreated. There were many bitter and violent fights in between these marches, and many of them were arrested and put in jail, including Cesar Chavez himself. They were released from prison, and they made progress between the farm workers and the unions in order to force the growers to further improve the farm working conditions. He also afterwards created a nationwide lettuce and grape boycott afterwards. And 2 years later, in 1964, they formed the United Farm Workers Association with around 1,000 members just to bring better wages for them. Then later in 1968, he organized what he called the 5-year grape boycott, which urged people to stop buying California grapes until the farm workers had contracts better ensuring their health conditions and working conditions. And it was changed to, again, the UFW in 1974. And then it took about 4 years. In 1978, the demands were met and the boycotts were finally lifted. The conditions that desired these movements in the 1960s were out in the fields, and they've in fact gotten worse. And since 1960, or at the 1970s, at the height of these union powers, farm workers were earning what was around $16 an hour today, which is less than what farm workers get paid now. And going back to supporting my partner's points for union benefits and how they offer better wage and benefits, people who are in a union have the power to negotiate higher wages and improve their benefits and better working conditions for their members. And it ensures adequate compensation and fair coverage for improved safety for those union workers. And the representatives of the labor and management negotiates over wage and benefits, hours, and working conditions. The settlement reached is spelled out in a written document or contract usually, and these contracts are given grievances to settle disputes. Another thing that these unions do is they push for minimum wage increases, and they increase the labor cost for employees using low-skilled workers. And the decreasing gap between the wage rate of low and high-skilled workers are more likely to be represented by a union. Another thing is that the they support restrictions on imported goods through quotas and tariffs, and this increases the demand for domestic product and in turn domestic labor. People who advocate for unions believe that the employees are more likely to get what they want, and it comes for the benefit of being in a union, like paid leave, retirement benefits, and insurance coverage for both single and married employees. And surveys across the country state that unionized members are more likely to enjoy these benefits, with only a small number of non-unionized members having access to these benefits, as by the International Union of Engineers. Another point is that the sweeping advantage in unionized workers is in fringe benefits, and these unionized workers are more likely than non-unionized counterparts to receive paid leave, and are approximately 20% more likely to have employer-approved health insurance and about 40% more likely to have employer-provided pension plans, as per the Investopedia article. These cost of benefits have increased over time and now accounts for a greater share of total compensation in the past, but it's not near enough to account for discrepancy between wage and productivity growth. And so, according to an analysis by the Center for Economic and Policy Research, the labor compensation for benefits between 1970s and 2005 have risen from 12.6% to 19.5%. Another point is that people in union do in fact have more voice, and that employers in unions have no choice but to negotiate with unions in order to maintain productivity and increase economic growth. And it's the right to strike also shows is a prime example of worker galvanization and how the workers can come together and achieve better things than if they were individual. And through these points, I'm hoping to see why workers should be required to join a union in order to be employed.